My name is Emma Richardson. I'm 15 years old. On a warm spring evening, I was walking home from choir practice when everything changed.
One moment, I was humming a song, thinking about the lyrics, and the next, there was a screech, a flash, and then nothing. The world dissolved into silence. I felt my body lift, weightless, and all fear, all confusion, evaporated. It was as if I had stepped out of reality entirely. There was no pain, no sound, no thought in the way I knew it. It was just awareness, pure, unfiltered awareness. I floated above the street, looking at my body lying unmoving, emergency lights flickering, people screaming, and it didn't matter. Then a light appeared, not a harsh, blinding light, but soft, inviting, vibrating with warmth and love. I realized instantly that it was him, Jesus. But he wasn't the pictures from Sunday school. He was immense, alive, radiant, made of something I couldn't name. His presence was like standing in the center of a calm storm. The eye, where everything is still, everything is certain. He reached out, and I felt a warmth so profound that it seemed to fill every corner of my soul. He didn't speak in words. He communicated in thoughts, memories, and emotions. 1,000 truths hit me at once, not chaotic, but perfectly ordered. And then, as my soul calmed, I felt him guide me, like he wanted to show me something. We weren't on Earth anymore. The street, the city, the sky, they vanished. We were hovering above a place of darkness that pulsed and writhed. Shadows twisted like smoke, and in the center of it all, there was a figure. Someone I recognized instantly, even though I didn't expect to. P Diddy. But it wasn't just the man. It was an aura, a distortion around him that revealed the hidden realities of influence, fame, and greed. Jesus looked at me. "Emma," he said, "this is the truth most cannot see. People follow him blindly, worshipping what is empty. This is the power of distraction, of influence without conscience. But you can see it now. Remember." The scene shifted rapidly. I saw crowds entranced by screens, cheering for music and fame while ignoring cries, suffering, and the spiritual void growing inside themselves. I saw P Diddy not as a villain, but as a person trapped by choices, his power amplified by millions unaware of the weight their attention carried. "You are seeing it because you are alive, and you can carry this message," Jesus whispered. "Influence can build or destroy. Heart matters. Souls matter." The vision expanded. I could see individuals, teenagers, and young adults being subtly manipulated, drawn toward idols, trends, and voices that amplified pride, envy, and emptiness. But then I saw the counterbalance. Moments where someone chose kindness over popularity, prayer over distraction, light over darkness, tiny threads of hope, golden and radiant, weaving through the chaos. Then Jesus pulled me close. "Emma, you must return. You will tell them what I showed you. The world is listening, even when it doesn't know it. Souls are fragile, and influence is a test. Teach them to see beyond the image. Teach them to see the heart." And just like that, I felt a tug, a gentle but firm pull, and my awareness rushed back into my body. The screech of brakes, the distant shouts, the bright lights of the street all hit me at once. Pain returned, but it was bearable because I carried something greater, a mission, a vision, and the undeniable proof that the spiritual world is real. Influence has consequences, and love can reach where fame and power cannot. When I opened my eyes in that place of light, Jesus didn't speak first. He simply showed me. The darkness beneath us pulsed like a living shadow, and I could see the world through a new lens. Every screen, every device, every social media post, it wasn't just entertainment. It was a river, and people were drifting in it, unaware of the current dragging them away from themselves. "Emma," Jesus said gently, and I felt the words more than heard them. "Look closely. This is the battle most cannot see. It isn't against people. It's against the hearts being stolen." I saw it clearly. A teenager scrolling on her phone, laughing at a meme, seemed normal from the outside. But in this spiritual layer, I could see something else. Grey threads crept from the screen, curling around her head, whispering lies. You're not enough. You must be perfect. You must compete. You must envy. The girl's eyes glazed over, and her spirit recoiled, tiny shards of light dimming inside her. Then the vision shifted. I saw P Diddy, again, not as a monster, but as a man caught in cycles of influence. His music, his fame, his power, it carried weight. Every song, every post, every public statement became a vessel. Some were harmless, some amplified greed, vanity, and distraction. And I realized the truth. Influence is neutral. It is the choices of the heart that determine whether it heals or harms. Jesus reached out a hand, and suddenly I was inside a room, surrounded by thousands of young people. Each one was glued to a device, absorbed in trends, likes, and validation. And yet, scattered among them, a few had small sparks, moments of kindness, creativity, prayer, or courage. Those sparks were fragile but unstoppable if nurtured. This is why you are here, Jesus said, to see both the danger and the hope. Every choice to love, to pray, to resist vanity, strengthens the light. Then I was shown P Diddy's journey. Not just the fame, the parties, or the awards, but the private struggles, the mistakes, the pressures, the fear of irrelevance. I could feel the loneliness and the desire to matter. And suddenly it made sense why he, like so many others, became a vessel for both influence and distraction. His life wasn't black and white. It was a spectrum of choices, with consequences beyond what he could see. Jesus showed me the contrast. I saw young people choosing to listen to kindness instead of whispers of comparison. I saw friends helping each other, parents praying for children, mentors guiding teens toward purpose. The grey threads from devices recoiled, where love and attention touched hearts. Small acts of mercy, compassion, and guidance became like beams of light, cutting through fog. You see, Emma, Jesus said, power, influence, and fame are only tools. What matters is how they are used, who is fed by them, and who is harmed. The darkness grows when hearts are ignored, but the light multiplies when love is chosen, even in the smallest ways. I felt a surge of understanding. The truth wasn't just about a celebrity or a trend. It was about choices, about seeing the invisible battles raging inside everyone's heart, and about remembering that a single spark of light, a kind word, a prayer, a moment of patience could shift the tide. Jesus leaned closer. You cannot fix the world, Emma. No one can. But you can guide the hearts you touch. Warn them. Teach them to recognize what feeds darkness and what nurtures light. And when they stumble, remind them that mercy is always possible. Then, without warning, I was pulled upward again. The world of devices and shadows shrank, fading into a tunnel of gentle light. I knew I was returning, but this time, I carried the weight of vision, clarity, and purpose. I was still 15, still Emma Richardson, but I was changed, and I knew my life had a mission I could no longer ignore. End shot through me, but I forced my eyes open. The hospital room was crowded with my family, my mum shaking, my dad pale, my little brother hovering with wide eyes. Tears streamed down their faces as they realized I was awake. I wanted to explain, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, I squeezed my mum's hand. My message, my mission, had to wait. Days passed in recovery, and my body healed slowly. But the vision stayed with me. The grey threads, the shadows whispering lies, the moments of light that could pierce darkness, all of it burned into my memory. I began to understand the responsibility that came with what I had witnessed. It wasn't about fear. It wasn't about blaming anyone. It was about truth, about awareness, about teaching people, especially young people, that what they consumed on their screens, what they listened to in whispers, what they let into their hearts, could either feed light or darkness. I started small. I talked to my friends, warning them about the traps of social media and the invisible threads of envy, anger, and comparison. I prayed with them. I shared moments of encouragement. And slowly, I noticed changes. Some smiles returned. Some sparks of hope, previously dim, flickered back to life. And then came the realization. P Diddy wasn't evil. He wasn't the villain. He was human, like all of us. Influential, yes, but just like every influencer, celebrity, or friend, the choice to feed light or darkness was always theirs. My heart ached for him, for all the people swept away by the grey, shadowy threads. But I also understood my mission wasn't to judge. It was to illuminate. Every time I saw someone scrolling endlessly, comparing themselves, feeling envy, or listening to the whispers of bitterness and self-doubt, I remembered the visions. I remembered Jesus' words. The light multiplies when love is chosen, even in the smallest ways. And I realized that even a single kind word, a prayer, a moment of attention, or patience, could cut through the fog. I am Emma Richardson. I was 15 when I died, and returned. I saw the truth, the battles, and the light. And I am telling you this, because the world needs to know. Pay attention, choose mercy, choose love, choose light. Every post, every word, every interaction carries weight. The choices you make feed either shadows or hope. And the most important choice? To let love guide you, even when it feels impossible, even when darkness surrounds you, even when the world seems lost in endless scrolling, endless comparison, endless distraction. Because love, mercy, and light, those are the weapons the shadows cannot touch. Even after I was home, the visions didn't leave me. The grey threads, the shadows whispering lies, the sparks of light, they stayed alive in my mind. I knew I had to share what I'd seen. This wasn't just my story. It was a warning, a guide, a plea for awareness. I started by speaking to my parents. I told them about the invisible battles, about how screens, messages, and social media weren't just harmless fun. I explained how jealousy, envy, anger, and despair could slip in quietly, wrapping themselves around hearts like invisible chains. They listened, wide-eyed, unsure if I was recounting a dream or something real. I insisted it was real. It had been more vivid than any waking moment. Next, I turned to my friends. Some laughed at first, thinking it was just teenage dramatics. But as I described what I had seen, the shadows, the lies, the chance for light, they grew silent. They remembered times they had been trapped in jealousy or anger, lost hours scrolling through social media, feeling the emptiness inside grow. I told them they were not alone, that there was a way out, a way back to hope. And then I realized the mission was bigger. Not just friends or family, but everyone. Kids, teens, parents, adults distracted by hate, by fear, by endless streams of anger and disconnection. The same darkness I saw, clinging to P Diddy, twisting the messages and influence he wielded, could touch anyone. The chains of envy and comparison were everywhere. The whispers were real. I shared what Jesus showed me about light, how even the smallest flicker, a kind word, a moment of patience, a prayer, could pierce through the grey web. I urged people to guard their hearts, to forgive, to speak love instead of hate. Every post, every comment, every message mattered. I explained that what we feed in our hearts grows stronger light or darkness, and that each of us has the power to choose. I told them the story of P Diddy not to condemn him, but as an example of how even those with influence and power can be caught in darkness if they reject the light. But I also shared the hope. There is always a chance to choose mercy, to change the direction, to bring light where shadows try to dominate. I prayed aloud with them, feeling the warmth of Jesus' presence again, a reminder that I wasn't just recounting visions, I was passing on a mission, and the response was incredible. Teens began to put down their phones, even for a moment, to speak to their parents. Parents began to listen, to pray, to guide with love instead of frustration. Little sparks of hope, like the lights in the visions, started appearing everywhere. I want you to know this isn't about being perfect. It's about awareness, about noticing the whispers, the shadows, the grey threads that try to steal attention, joy, and hope. It's about remembering that light exists, even in the smallest actions, even when it feels impossible, even when social media and the world around you seem filled with darkness. I, am Emma Richardson. I died at 15 and returned with a message. Social media, influence, distraction, they are powerful, but they are not stronger than mercy, love, and light. You have a choice every single day to spread darkness or to spread light. You have the chance to cut the grey threads, to reject the whispers, to choose love. The mission is clear. Parents, protect your children's hearts. Teens, guard your minds. Everyone, remember that every act of kindness, every word of encouragement, every moment of attention given to light, even when the world tries to drag you into shadow, matters. I cannot go back to heaven yet. My purpose keeps me here, sharing what I've seen. And if you take anything from my story, let it be this: do not ignore the shadows. See them, resist them, and choose mercy. Love, hope, and light are real. The battle is not visible to most, but it is happening. And the choices we make now will shape not just our lives, but the lives of those around us. Wake up, pay attention, choose light. It is more powerful than you realize. And it starts with you.